2 minutes is all I've got on this. So this is the NGC, because there's 3 different grading companies. PCGS, I looked at some PCGSs today because they were a little slow in the grading process. I could bring some PCGS out, early release, their first strike coins. They're gonna be $49.99.95. Okay, they're gonna be $5,000 for the PCGS. I had the early NGC coins at $39.99.95, completely and totally sold out. I've got a few more at $46.99.95, early release NGCs in Proof 70, Deep Cameo or Ultra Cameo, as you can see right here. So I just wanted to give you, now understand the Annex right now is a great buy at $39.99.95, but if you're an NGC collector, you know that you're an NGC collector. Some people collect by grading company, and they want the early release. They want it to match all their other Ultra Cameos and the coins that you bought, let's say, from us last year in the 2017 Mint State Palladiums. These are the Proof Palladiums. Like I said, rarity, collectability, desirability on the highest level. By the way, people say that's a funny W there, since it's a West Point Mint. I've never seen a West Point Mint W that looks like that. Well, that's not the mint mark. The mint mark's here. See that? That's the W. That's an AW for the designer of the Mercury Dime, Adolph Weinman. That was his initials that were put on the coin so that he designed the coin, and that's what his right there. So that's Adolph Weinman, as you can see right there, and he did the obverse and the reverse of this. This was on the Mercury Dime, originally released in 1916. This is the second reverse of the Walking Liberty half dollar that was never actually released to the general public, folks. So great opportunity for you to get that.
Well, don't forget, 640772 is the item number. Do you have any more Palladium coins on our website? Are these the only 2 that we currently have?
There may be a first day, our first day of issue, there might be 1 or 2 coins.
Okay.
So I can't definitively say.
Right, because it changes.
It changes. Yeah, people are constantly shopping.
All right.
There was some like 2 days ago. I can't guarantee that it's still there.
All right.
It would be the same coin, still $39.99.95 in Annex first day, but there'd be 1 or 2 coins. Perhaps that would only be on hsn.com.
hsn.com is the way to go to check out the expanded assortment.
But that's it for Palladium, yeah.
Yay, all right. So you mentioned Susan B. Anthony coin coming up?
Yep, got the complete set at a special price because of Palladium.
And we want to show you something else before we move any further. Oh, there we go.
I've not had this.